The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the host and guest and do not reflect the opinions or policies of the station, its owners, or its advertisers. All content should be considered editorial in nature. Listener discretion is advised.
Recorded live, Cumberland County's smartest hour of talk radio. Welcome back to another edition of the Carolina Cabinet.
Well, everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the Carolina Cabinet. I'm your host, Peter Pappas, in studio with the lovely Laura Mussler.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. And special guest today, Mr. Burns. Mr. Robert Burns. Oh, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So nobody said I was technically proficient with all of this stuff, but I'm getting there. So, Laura, we were on yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We managed to eat up a whole hour, just me and you.
I know. You and I.
We sure did. You and I, me and you. Okay. Yeah.
No, you and I.
Not only is she the emotional intelligent one of us, but also the grammar Nazi as well. So
grammar Nazi.
Yeah,
wow.
I mean,
I had my tattoo removed off my chest.
Look, oh, good. Yeah. Well, so I guess no, put it back on so you can run as a Democrat.
Oh, that's right.
They accept
okay.
that.
So
there.
we're just called Nazis just because,
yeah.
but they can get the tattoo and
they can actually be branded as such.
Yes. But people make mistakes.
And I'm sorry I called you the Nazi because I just saw the Soup Nazi episode from Seinfeld again because I'm watching that for like the 20th time.
It's okay. It loses a little bit of the sting when you're called it constantly, so it's okay.
Yeah. After a while, it's like I don't know.
Whatever.
Who touched you as a child? Is
right.
What I ask. So,
well, let me tell you. So it was like, no, I'm just joking.
Oh Lord. Okay, Mr. Burns, go ahead. So let's talk about why he's here.
Okay.
And
so our guest today is Mayor Robert Burns of Monroe. He is one of the most talked about local elected officials in the state. He's a businessman, husband, and has 6 children. Holy smokes, his wife must be busy. He's a very outspoken conservative leader. He first gained statewide attention after winning mayoral race in Monroe in one of the closest elections in North Carolina history.
That's right.
So him and his opponent got like 970 or 670,
right.
970,
right.
970 votes each, even.
Yes.
So then they did what? That democratic way
did you duel for it?
No, they did not duel. They flipped a coin.
That would have been nice. Arm wrestle or something.
Arm wrestle. Yeah.
Arm wrestling would have been fun to watch.
Right.
But they just flipped a coin. And so now we have Mayor Burns.
Yes.
Okay.
So welcome.
Congratulations, Mayor Burns. And
Thank you.
Depending on the coin toss. So was your opponent, was it of the same party or
no,
it was opposite?
No.
Okay.
Complete opposite.
So you don't do nonpartisan elections, or
they were nonpartisan at the time. Yes.
Okay.
They're not nonpartisan any longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
Which
changed?
do you like better?
Partisan for sure.
Okay.
What changed, or when did they change that?
They changed that last July, and they gave us partisan elections along with adding an extra year. That's why I'm still the mayor. And yes, I'm not obviously running for re-election for mayor. So, but yeah, we now have partisan elections in Monroe, and I am absolutely for it. It's a great thing.
Why do you like partisan better?
Because it gives accountability and some responsibility even for those votes, right? So the biggest thing is nonpartisan is completely, nothing's neutral. Nothing is actually nonpartisan in actual politics,
right?
And that's the issue. And so typically what happens is you going into an election, many candidates tend to speak out both sides of their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they'll promise you one thing, sound like one person, go in front of another, citizen and sound like another. And I heard for the first 2 years of my tenure, like, oh, this is nonpartisan. But we would often vote on partisan issues and or platform issues, I would say, Democrat or Republican.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh, no, this is neutral. Nothing is neutral. Nothing is neutral. And as a matter of fact, it's just the amount of chaos that I have seen that. And then people need to know, I think that's a great starting point, right? That doesn't explain who you completely are. I'm not completely just a Republican, right? I'm a Christian. I'm a father. I'm a business owner. I can go on for days. I'm a conservative. We know that might not be the case for some Republicans.
That's true.
Okay. And so those things, I'm a constitutionalist. So there's a lot of things like that. But at least it's a starting point. And I think that at the very basic level, when you go into vote, people need to know at least. I think it helps kind of educate people where at least they lie on major issues.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it takes out a lot of the hide and seek that you see. You have, I think, in our own local city council election.
I would have been in the runoff.
We had a candidate she won her election, but she was out there saying that her opponent was a Donald Trump, and her opponent was this, and her opponent was racist. Another black female, by the way.
Okay.
So they kind of hide and seek behind that veil.
Always.
Of, oh, well, they're a Republican, or they're,
or the idea that someone is running for all people. Nobody,
am I all people?
Nobody speaks for all people. That, I think, in politics, that's probably one of the most arrogant things I've ever heard. That's absolutely impossible. You cannot speak for all people. You're not God.
Yeah. As much as they think they are.
See, now I think once you get into office that you don't speak for anybody because you try and kind of do things on your own that don't benefit our
Well, we've seen
people,
plenty of
but
evidence.
We've seen a lot of that. For
Yes,
sure.
we have.
Yes.
that's my personal thing. They forget that they're representatives. People say, oh, they're our leaders. No, they're not. They're not
there
leading
was
me
only
anywhere.
1,800 or 1,900 votes in your election. How big is Monroe?
Well, it was more than that, but
Okay.
just for the mayoral election,
Okay.
because we had 5 others that ran for mayorals.
Okay.
Yes. So,
Oh,
yeah. And
Oh.
and that was all nonpartisan.
So that's not done in the primary. You don't go down to 2 in the primary.
We didn't have a primary. So a partisan includes a primary. Okay. But we
Right.
were nonpartisan. So that's also the issue. So what often happens,
we had a primary.
We
for
had a
nonpartisan.
primary.
even
we
for,
had-
well,
yeah.
we didn't have that. So I know that, I guess that, every area is different, but we had for the mayoral election, there were 5 of us running.
Mhm.
So that's incredibly important to know. There were 5 of us running, and one person had been in politics and had been on city council a couple times. Then another individual was the newly appointed. He was the appointed next guy up. We had a homeless woman also run.
We had one too.
She got 90 votes, by the way, which is mind blowing. And then the guy that I ended up tying with, I call him Mr. Other Side of the Coin. He actually had been running for 8 years. And so I'd only been running for 3.5 months. So, and we significantly beat the next guy who was, get technically number third.
So it like dropped off to 500 or
Yes,
400.
pretty
Is that
close.
What
Yes.
it did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So you basically had a general primary. You just went straight to the November.
We did. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And in election cycle for us outside before we had a primary, you filed in July, you have a couple weeks,
Mhm,
and then come November, then that's when that was. But now there is what they call HB3, House Bill 3 passed. It was a local bill, gave Monroe primary elections, partisan elections with the primary. And then they bumped us all back, or, add another year to everybody's term. So now we're on even cycle 2. That's incredibly important because the turnout's going to be much, much larger.
So your next election in your
Would be
municipality
this November.
This November.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And my guy that I got behind, he ended up winning in the primary by 16 percentage points to a woman, no disrespect, but she literally was, per the establishment, not even establishment, the Monroe cabal that you and I were talking about earlier, she was the next anointed and appointed. And she was supposed to go in there and actually wipe the floor with either one of us. And because of what I'm going to be running for, I could not do that because I'm mayor to them this year. So we already got to get kicked off and start doing things.
What you're going to be running for? Is there an announcement that you're going to make on the Carolina campaign?
We are literally running around the state right now, listening to people through a listening tour and going around, and we're absolutely considering and pretty much there running for governor.
Okay,
Excellent.
great.
So,
Okay.
But anyway, so he beat this anointed and appointed next person by 16 percentage points.
Excellent.
And so now they're
Okay.
going into the general, and that will be between a Republican and
Well,
Democrat.
let's bring it home. So what is your partisan makeup in your municipality in Monroe?
Mhm.
How many voters do you have, do you think? I should have prepped you for
Okay,
this
so as far as the amount of voters, I believe it's like registered around 23,000.
one. Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was your turnout for your election? Like 12%, 11%?
Yeah, roughly.
It was really so that's
Yeah.
consistent
Yeah,
along
yep.
everybody.
About
Okay.
12 to
And
13%.
Of your 20 or so thousand voters, because we have in our city, we have the whole county has 212. I think in the city we have about 160,000 registered voters, but it breaks down
Significantly. when it comes-
Republican about 30%. No, what was it? 25%, and then unaffiliated and Democrats are 75%.
Okay.
So we are heavily.
Well, how could we be 35 and they be 75? Just out of curiosity.
I said
What kind of
25, 75.
math? Okay.
It's good math, though.
Yeah, I'm mathing, baby. So what is the makeup up there in Monroe?
Largest demographic is unaffiliated.
Okay.
And then it literally fluctuates back and forth between Democrat and Republican.
Really?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
But they have 5 city council members that are Republican and 2 that are Democrat. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, we'll just put a little asterisk beside that. Yes, and say registered. But maybe not voting like.
Well, not every PhD on Facebook is registered to vote, but they have an opinion.
That's
So,
right.
So would you say that Monroe is more of a conservative area?
I believe so,
Okay.
but because of the nonpartisan issue,
Okay. You just don't know.
you don't know, and it has been very blue purple-ish.
Mhm.
A couple of years ago, we got, for I think the first time in a while, 3 registered, not just unaffiliated, 3 registered Republicans on. But since I've been there, they don't vote that way. And really, since they've been there, they don't vote that way because they were there 2 years before me, because we cycle we have 3 council members run every 4 years.
Mhm.
Okay.
Staggered
Or every
terms.
2 years, but they're
Okay.
staggered terms.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
Wow, that's crazy how that works.
Hmm.
Well, Hope Mills just went to that. Yeah, we couldn't get City of Fayetteville to go to that, or
Some people
seats.
in this room were against that.
What, stagger terms?
Mhm.
Yeah, I was. I like it now, considering some of the brain trust that's been elected.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see some shake up.
And again, it doesn't always match up for you, specifically if what happens is you have elected officials who listen to the loudest voice, who's not always the majority.
Mhm.
Right. And so when they come in and they rattle the cage and they scream and they yell and send 1,000 emails, bombard again, just remember, it's impossible to represent all people.
Mhm.
And so that type of understanding, oftentimes, which I've seen in politics already in Monroe, really, that their own people that voted for them originally, because that, you have to admit, that they were registered Republicans, even though it was a nonpartisan race, they got there originally.
Mhm.
Every single one of those individuals who were registered Republicans that were up this time, because I'm telling you, they haven't voted on a Republican basis. Now that we're partisan, they just got wiped. Their floor, on the floor. I mean, it's bad.
Mhm.
They all 3 of them lost. So now we have individuals who, because it also did what it put them on record. That's the other thing you got to remember. It put them on record specifically with their own party.
Right.
And so when that went forward and stuff, that they were doing a lot of hemming and hawing, and they were upset about it.
Mhm.
But ultimately what happened is, when it came down to it, the Republicans booted them out. They did not win.
I like partisan everything.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
And
And it doesn't benefit you everywhere. It doesn't benefit Republicans everywhere, but at least you know where to start.
yeah, and I believe that we shouldn't have our open primary either. I think those of us Republicans should nominate our people that
Like
we
not
want.
allowing unaffiliated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like people were saying, here in Fayetteville, there were some people in this room that were saying, if you're unaffiliated, go pull a Democrat ballot because you have a bigger chance of.
That wasn't me, by the way.
Wasn't it?
Well, it wasn't me, so
Yeah, no,
Wasn't- it
not
wasn't
pointing the
me.
finger at anybody. Yeah.
But yeah.
Joel.
I mean, allegedly, some things have been said that
Yeah.
were incorrect, but at the
The
time, they seemed like the right thing to do.
Right. No, the Democrats should be voting for the Democrats, and if you want to stay unaffiliated, I respect that. That's cool,
absolutely.
100%. But you shouldn't have you pick a side, or
Okay, so let me qualify why I said something crazy like that.
Okay, please.
I will
Okay.
qualify.
Let's hear.
To me, any candidate needs to be out there discussing and trying to sell me on the value proposition of giving you my vote.
Yes.
There are so many candidates that we have locally that the elevator does not go to the top floor,
that's the truth.
and they think
Doesn't
just
even go to
simply
the first
because
floor.
they are Democrats or they are Republicans that you should vote for them. And the excuse will be, well, would you rather have a Democrat in the seat or would you rather have a Republican in the seat? I'd rather have a trained monkey and an organ grinder in the seat before I just vote for you based on what color cape you want to wear today.
Okay.
So to me, the primary deal with the unaffiliated is sell them on why you're a good proposition.
Yes.
You have to have something more than, look at me. I do what Donald Trump is going to say.
Well-
Donald Trump has been wrong before.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
so everybody knows,
Yes.
some of his endorsements, in my opinion, are like way out of the way.
Yes. Yes. Well, let's even say, let's kind of put it to y'all like this. So the guy that I got behind for mayor, okay,
Mhm.
his name's David Dotson. excellent person. Okay. A great guy. We've been on the same side pretty much voting almost every single time, which doesn't mean that like we don't have disagreements and things, by the way. Okay. But we work very well together. I'd have to say that in the city of Monroe, you can go back and you can look at to see how the unaffiliateds fall. And you do that by looking at how they vote in primaries. They voted 30, let me get this right, 38% to 24% Republican over Democrat when Donald Trump was in. So we knew going in that while the unaffiliated was the higher vote getter, okay, at the same, or registered or unregistered, I guess is the best way to put it. While they might have been the highest party, because they're still kind of a party.
Yes, they are.
While they're the highest, at the same time, they vote most of the time in the Monroe area as conservatives. And so
they say that's true most everywhere.
And except for except for like in Charlotte, but most everywhere. Right. And so because of that, we went in with a level of confidence and knowing who to go after and stuff like that too. I think that the unaffiliated, now my guy, David, he won by 16 percentage points. Okay. That's a lot. And we actually had a larger turnout in our primary this year because we pushed so heavily than we did in the entire election the previous year vote wise for mayor election. Okay. Which is awesome. But that unaffiliated vote contributed to probably about 4 to 5 points. Now the Republicans themselves came out heavily in droves, but it does help. So there are those instances that happens, but there was a push in Monroe. It didn't stick. For the Democrats were pushing, and a handful of other people that lean very liberal, but they might be unaffiliated. They were swinging, like they were pushing this thing all over social media to register, or when you go in to vote for the primary, to vote for the to pull a Republican ballot, and then vote for everyone who was against David Dotson. So for the other candidate, because the Democrat Party didn't have a primary. The Democrat candidate went in unopposed. Okay. So there is a real reason why I can see it specifically in larger elections where a closed primary would prevent that swing. But I don't know if it's hard. I'm kind of like in the middle. I see both arguments.
I see both arguments too. However, as a person who I live my life through politics, 150%. I've been to the Leadership Institute. I've taken every class that comes available. I want to know.
Right.
I've been a campaign
kind of
manager.
A campaign person and consultant.
Yes, I am a campaign consultant and a campaign manager and all of that stuff. So I love everything about politics.
Yeah, right.
And why should I put in all my work supporting Republicans and Republican candidates only to have some unaffiliated that you don't want to pick a side and come decide who I have to support now?
I understand all that. Yeah, no, I'm not going to argue with you. I see the problem in that for sure, specifically large elections.
Yes.
No.
I got you.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Well.
So am I allowed to talk about not positive things and like things with like no confidence?
Yes, of course you can.
Okay. So why did Monroe City Council have a vote of no confidence in your leadership? Tell me what happened. What's all that about?
So,
it's going to come out anyway, so I might as well.
Yeah. It's going to come out, but it's going to heavily benefit me now.
Right.
And the reason being is because of exactly what I just told you. We have if anybody's listening and they don't know what a cabal is, that is a political elitist group. It consists of people who try and sway elections almost like a religion in a sense. Okay. So we have something very similar to like that, like a lot of other towns do around this state. I am not the established group, cabals group, the group that, if you understand the logistics of Union County and why they're heavily Republican, I'm not the group that the guys who've been there for the longest. I wasn't that guy. I wasn't their candidate. I'd been asked when I first put my papers in, I was asked to remove myself because they saw what the previous mayor told me. They saw the way in which the wind was blowing. Because I bring a lot more energy. We're a lot more organized. Even right now with our campaign, we're way more organized than anybody else at this level where we are 2.5 years out. Okay. That's just the way that I operate. All right. And when I get focused on something, I'll outwork everybody. And so they saw that and they came and they asked me to step down, to remove myself. And they would appoint me because the guy was currently on council. If he was going to win, then they would point me to his seat. Okay. That's what I was told. but they didn't know me very well. I'm the guy that if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to show you how it's done.
That would have pissed me off too.
And that's basically what I said. After multiple meetings and individuals wanting to go get lunch with me, they were like, no, he's supposed to be the next mayor. As a matter of fact, I was even told by one of those guys that I'm not the type of local candidate they want, but a state and federal candidate, somebody who pushes back on people. But locally, and it's understood basically in politics, right? People don't like the feathers ruffled too close to their homes.
That's true.
So people do get uncomfortable, but that type of mentality is changing. Look at Spencer Pratt. Okay. People are actually sick of politics. I'm not the typical politician. All right. But I can work with people, and I have tried for years. So starting off, I was already not their guy. Okay. Then they came in trying to ask me to do things and bully me around and stuff like that. And I'm like, listen, if it's right for the people, specifically the people who elected me, remember, I don't believe that you can represent all people, but you're responsible for all people. Okay. So I was elected by individuals. I ran on the fact that I was a Christian, constitutionalist, conservative. Okay. Because remember, you're not Republican at the time as a nonpartisan. Right. And so I ran on those values. And then if you're going to tell me that I have to be okay with all age drag shows in a restaurant downtown Monroe, I'm not going to be there. And even they would tell you, well, no, we're not too, but we have to do it a certain way. You mean backdoor politics? Again, I'm not there with you. No, and so they did that for a long time. They pushed and pushed and pushed. And I then did, and so we'll touch on the censure first, because that's really what came. Because a no confidence vote sounds worse, but it's actually less than a censure. I was censured because I put out a pro-life proclamation on Roe v. Wade. I'm very pro-life. I believe that life begins at conception. But what I don't do, unlike previous candidates and other people, is because I have a heart for people too. I have a heart for women, and especially these babies and stuff like that. I will not condemn anybody who's gone through that, but I just want these women and these families to know there's a better way. There's a better way. And so that's kind of my message. That's all that actually the proclamation I put out was. That group, or really the cabal and the group of politicians that have been there, had never seen a politician like me before in Monroe. We're getting more stuff done in those first 6 months than they had ever done, 20 years before me. They wanted to control me, and some of them were upset with that. And even if you read the proclamation, there was absolutely nothing condemning or negative language, unless you just simply hate life. I would just say that. Okay. So,
there are those moments.
There are those moments, but people too. Let's just say
I keep it to people. I don't hate my life. It's just some people.
So then they censured me. But here's what happened. Not the B and others got hold of that, and every time they come after me, they've not figured it out. My name, I believe in the name of the Lord, gets out there even more. Okay. Right. So that's how that mentality.
Thank you, earned media.
Yes. And that's exactly what happens. Plus, I happen to be in the largest market, and then one of the largest markets in the entire Southeast.
That's right. So let's back up for just a moment. So tell me, the cabal, are we talking about people on our side of the fence? Generally? Registered. But okay. So the makeup of Union County about 20, 30 years ago was completely blue. Around the time that Charlotte started flipping and Mecklenburg County started flipping, what ended up happening was it went red. So a lot of people deep into the city, right? City politics, not maybe not necessarily country politics. Gotcha.
We have a lot of blue dog Democrats, just as conservative as you and I, but they're farmers. Okay. So they were all flipped red, but deep into the city of Monroe, they all started flipping red because they didn't want to be outside of the political structure that was obviously happening around the state. So we have a group of individuals, and everybody knows who they are if you live in Monroe. And I'm sure y'all have something very similar to it.
I got a list. I'll go to talk about.
Yes.
Come on.
And so these individuals who have been in politics in the area for a very long time.
That sounded really creepy, just so you know.
They want you to come kiss the ring, bow down and ask for permission. One guy told me that who's a part of that group, by the way, but how he got started was he wanted to be a part of the school board. And he was on hold for about 8 to 9 years. Then they gave him the ability to do that. And then they blessed his ability to go to be a county commissioner. And then And then the county commissioner and makeup structure all changed, and he became very angry and aggressive and all this other stuff. But regardless of that, that's the cabal. So it's a group of individuals that are just been in the political system in Monroe/Union County for a long time, and they're the ones that want you to ask for permission, and they're still there.
I think there's just a cabal of some beta male conservatives that are supplicants, and they want to just be told what to do.
There's women that, because I am the cog in the wheel, as you know, I speak out. I
know you're kind of a rock in people's shoes, but
and I do not fit into that cabal, and because of that, I have a lot of issues.
Well, like I fit in.
Well, you don't fit in anywhere.
That's the what. So I ran for city council out of the blue back in 21,
and he did quite well.
I did
good,
but the people at the GOP were like, "Can you meet with us? Like, we don't know who you are."
Yeah.
So, and that was fine. And, I met, but I was not, I think my initial friction with coming into politics then was I told people a lot of times to pound sand.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't like, the thing about abortion. People get mixed up with it. I'm like, look, that's this woman's worst part of her life. Why do I need to make it? So I wasn't following that traditional party line, and that friction then showed the people that are of that cabal here in Cumberland County.
And so to speak, going back to, because I don't want to, I'm just trying to give you guys some background to the no confidence vote. They created a process. They took away my ability to make proclamations. By the way, I literally took that proclamation, sent it to our city attorney, as every mayor did before me. And they said that they were telling everybody else, they weren't telling the truth, that I had worked outside of my authority. Our attorneys were the ones who okayed and even edited the proclamation, and it went out. So they created a process. So I couldn't make proclamations.
Who's they?
The city council created a process, because all you need is 4 votes in ours, but it's basically always
most
5
likely
versus
with
2.
some prompting from exterior forces.
Right. And so they made a process of me not being able to do that. Okay, fine, whatever. Okay. Well, the following year, when it was no confidence vote, there was a letter. Y'all, I wrote a letter. And so they wanted to censure me again. And my attorney was like, you will be infringing on his First Amendment rights. You cannot do that. Well, then what's worse? Well, we'll do a no confidence vote. What does that mean? It has absolutely no teeth, as if the other one didn't anyways. Where censure really hurts you is on the state level.
Yeah.
It doesn't really do anything to you anyways on the citywide level. So they actually said that as we're in the meeting for the no confidence vote, and all the media even asked our own attorneys, sitting there, they tried to catch me on a bunch of lies, and I caught them, and I literally directed them. I was like, that's not true. And so eventually the question it came up, did the mayor break any? And the attorney was like, no. Is there any real reason for them to do this? Our own city attorney said no, because he was the one who told them that they could not censure me. And so then they were like, okay, well, we're going to do no confidence vote. And they just did a no confidence vote.
And again, it sounds worse than it is. There is no enforcement mechanism at the municipal level. We've had Councilman Dawkins, I think, got in trouble with Councilman at the time, Yvonne Kinston, who Dino Hondros now has her seat, District 9. He got into it with her at a meeting and became, quote, disrespectful. And they censured him, and nothing happened.
So it's going to come up, but here's the best part. They did it incorrectly. I still believe that, and many others do as well, but I'm holding them at bay for infringing my First Amendment rights. But then at the same time, these same guys now, they always put it on our agenda as ethics. Do you know that 2 of these individuals, you have 1 year after you are elected, 1 year to take your ethics class in the state of North Carolina as a municipal elected official?
Jeez,
and one of the guys who's been there now, who was up for re-election and he lost though. So 4 years. So he's been there for 4.5 years now. Remember, because he got an extra year. He just took his ethics class. One of the ladies right now, who's the mayor pro tem, she's in trouble because she's on a board of a company that's receiving money from our city council. She sits on the committee directing funding to them. We just found out she's broken the law. It's a misdemeanor. It's a class 1 misdemeanor. So,
but she's not getting reelected. So that really is.
No. She's the mayor pro tem, who's a Democrat who's running for mayor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So again, it all comes back. And every
Is it
time
a
they do-
nonprofit by any chance?
It is a nonprofit.
Of course.
Surprise.
Yeah.
I love the grift always continues with these
Yes.
guys.
I was the only one person running without a nonprofit, and I was like, why did every candidate have a
Dummy,
nonprofit?
you're supposed to have a nonprofit.
I didn't
She's
know.
on the board of this
You know,
nonprofit, though. She doesn't run it. But
The
still.
nonprofit is the modern equivalent of the mafia for
Right.
certain
Because I too
parties.
ran for city council,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I lost by 41 votes.
Yeah.
Can you say 41?
Yeah.
So depressing. But anyway,
Yeah.
You
No
can ask
point.
me anything, though. I'm just being honest with you.
So,
So more of that. You can ask me
Is
something.
your style of government as a city manager and
wait, he has more enemies.
well, I'm sure. But,
The NAACP wanted
Ooh,
him
yeah.
removed
okay,
because of
well,
his.
yeah.
they're
his
fun.
posts. See, I bring up
Ooh,
all
let's
because
go.
to me, if you're not
Yes.
talking about all the bad stuff, then you're hiding it, and it
Yeah.
comes out and it catches you off guard. So I'd rather get it out of the way so that it's
Let's
talked
go.
about, and then
Yeah.
we can move on and be all the
I
positive stuff.
listen, I got
So
plenty
what
of
ki-
enemies, but
So,
I have one
so
that-
the type of government is just
Yeah.
like Fable here. We have the city manager, you
Yes.
have the city staff. So
yes.
you guys are figureheads for your districts and all, and then you advocate. I mean, it's a
Hmm.
council management type of government.
I would actually tell you that in the court of public perception, I'm much more than a figurehead. But technically speaking, the council as a whole dictates the agenda as a whole,
Mhm.
that of the city manager who then operates the city.
Mhm.
When I was running, I was told consistently that I'm just a figurehead, just out kissing babies, doing
Mhm,
ribbon cuttings. If that's the case, why are they such in an uproar over everything?
Well,
going on?
and you are in charge of hiring that city manager, and as
But
Well,
I'm
and not the city
entire-
council,
board,
the whole
the board.
board.
the whole
Yeah, the
board.
whole
You
board.
see what I mean?
okay.
And
You're
so
just one vote. You just get to claim a state of emergency and be on TV.
in the public
That's
in
pretty good.
the
Yeah.
court of
Yeah.
public perception, I run the entire city. I am technically the head figurehead of the city council, and that's what drives them crazy, because it's the same thing with the governor. Okay, our governor has the absolute least amount of power than any other governor in this entire union.
Mhm.
So why would anybody want to run for governor? It's because just like a pastor or anything else, all right, the personality becomes that of the person who's in the head. So now, I mean, I can go on for days of great things that are happening in the city of Monroe, but it's because people now feel like there's less, because there is less regulation and so on and so on and so forth. But yes, I have plenty of enemies, and then we can address the NAACP.
So, what kind of social media posts and public comments did you have?
Okay. So because of my social media, which hits, I told you earlier, about 8.5 million people a month. Okay. After Charlie Kirk was assassinated, remember, the guy didn't die from
Yeah.
a heart attack or anything like that. The guy was assassinated. The local Union County Democrat Party, the old chair, is
Mhm.
quite possibly one of the most racist individuals you'll ever meet. You will, if you watch or go look at his social media, even when we're done with this, it will blow your mind. Okay.
And it's the Republican Party?
No, Democrat
Oh,
Party.
Democrat Party.
Democrat Party. He is the ex chair, but he is still on the Democrat Party executive committee of the state. When Charlie Kirk was assassinated, that dude went on and started saying that he could rest in piss. He could, he's dancing on his grave for all he matters. He was mocking Charlie, all this stuff. He's saying some of the most hateful, crazy things. So to me, because he is in the executive party, the Democrat Party of the state, okay, and Anderson Clayton knows me very well, and all of them, they don't like me, I don't like them. It's very well known. That because of that, it had to be called out, because political violence or violence in any sort towards any individual is absolutely ridiculous, and I would not be okay with that. But naturally, because it was Charlie Kirk, and of course nobody was saying anything. So there was obviously that time where all these people were going out and celebrating his death. What were people doing? So I called him out on social media, and I did post who he was, what he does, and everything else.
So you doxed him.
Not really, but yes. Okay.
Sounds
It's not,
like
it's not
that.
doxing unless you're sending him like SWAT teams to his door.
All right.
I mean,
No, that's called swatting.
That's called swatting.
Oh,
Okay.
That's a whole nother
Let me
thing.
Catch up with the
So,
logo here.
No, but I did. And you know what? I don't take that back at all. This guy was vile, and people need to know who he is and what he's doing. And by the way, he has a position as the Democrat Party leader, as one for our entire state. And so anyways, that said, it went viral. and hit millions and millions of people. And other people picked it up. David Harris, all these other guys picked it up and everything. And keep in mind, even right now, I've not even mentioned the guy's skin color. I never mentioned his skin color, not one time. When I was asked about it, even on the radio, I never mentioned this man's skin color. I told them how he calls out white liberals. Even people in his own party. He is a vile person. That said, because he happens to be black, which I don't care if he's black, white, red, nothing. Yeah. They came after me. But here's the funny things, because this gentleman also serves on the NAACP locally in Union County. There
Good role models.
There you go. Yeah. So that's what that is. And now, can I also tell you that I got one individual reached out to me during all of this. I now spoke to Lorenzo Sol, who was the pastor, the one who gave the prayer for President Trump. Okay. And President Trump has gone to Detroit and seen him multiple times. I've talked to Brandon Tatum and all these guys. They were like, listen, the NAACP is a communist organization. They do not represent us. But I had the woman whose family is the largest donor ever in the history of Union County NAACP and one of the largest ever in this entire state. She called me and told me, do not listen to them. They do not represent her or anything else. And so we've had that discussion. I've talked to John Emenchukwu recently, and he has even said the same thing. So that was a political hit job, but people on the surface, if they don't know that the NAACP is running out of money, so they're talking about other things and they want the race baiting issue to come and to still be alive. If they don't know that, it sounds bad, but most conservative Republicans and even in unaffiliates don't even pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, in NAACP here locally in Cumberland County, I mean, they organize a lot of events. They bring people together, it seems like, but
I don't think it's an indictment on all of the NAACP chapters, but
I think they just, once in a while, they get some pretty vile people in their leadership, and that happens.
Sure.
I mean, hell, even the state Democrat leader, the young lady, she's a rather outspoken little spitfire. So,
everything that comes out of her mouth has to do with race. Everything.
Everything. Yeah.
And for those of us that are brown, we're not.
Well,
we're white.
The problem is it precludes you from just being a straight up asshole.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like like that can't exist anymore. You must be because you're black or white. You just can't be an a-hole before.
And when we just talked about all this with John Emenchukwu, he asked me on his podcast the same exact stuff. And this new, the president of the NAACP in Charlotte was like, if you're white and you're running for mayor to take over Vi Lyles, then step away. You're encroaching. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
How come? Yeah. What a double standard. Because when Joe Biden was running for office and he stepped down, there was not another re-election. How come it's different when Kamala Harris steps up? And so what it is people are afraid to talk about it. And I'm not afraid to talk about it.
Actually, people are not afraid to talk about it because one side talks about race all the time.
There you go. Yes.
And I'm white presenting. That's what I was told. I'm white presenting.
Did I tell you that?
No, I'm sorry. I almost said her name on air.
Oh no, our state senator.
My representative state senator said that, and I said, well, as a Hispanic female, that I'm offended by that because not only do I, with the last name Rodriguez, do I not fit in with the white folk, but because I don't speak Spanish, I don't fit in with Mexicans. So you're right. I am maybe white presenting, adjacent, but I don't fit in with anybody. So I can relate. But
it's unfortunate because you should never, no matter who you are, you can't choose your skin color. You don't wake up and decide that you're going to be.
Well, if you lay in the sun, you do.
Well, not really.
Yeah, not me. I go straight to lobster.
Not really. But I'm just saying, like, for that to constantly go back to that, I think that
you thought we got past some of this stuff in the 80s and 90s. I feel like my college orientation in 97 was celebrate diversity.
Right.
But we were done. It was like, cool. It's the 90s. Nobody cares until
it's content of your character.
Obama re-woke up the race baiting in this country because, quote, Trayvon could have been my son. I mean, that kind of crap.
Well, I think that it's okay to talk about it in the sense that, I mean, there are certain things, of course, I'm not going to feel comfortable talking about either, because the reality is because I believe everyone is made in the image of God. Everybody has inherent value. Okay. Those inalienable rights endowed to us by our Creator. life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if you infringe on any of those, I don't care what color you are. I don't care what religion you are. I'm a Christian. I believe, Jesus Christ is the way. But you do have rights here. The second greatest document ever created outside of the Bible is the U.S. Constitution. And so here we are today, our Declaration of Independence, or those two combined, our founding documents. And so that's why it doesn't make sense to me that we even are still talking about this, right? Because ultimately you can talk to most people, and in this country, racism exists. Okay, it does exist, but it exists all over the world. We're not the founding,
we're not the founding and the
country.
owners of it.
Yeah, that's not true. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've literally gone over to Lebanon and have served over in Lebanon in missions for individuals and Syrians that were, displaced from the war that was happening. Okay, and so while we're over there, I can't tell if they're Lebanese or Syrian, but there was a real racist battle that was happening over there at the same time. And so it's a condition of humans that we need to get past, and we need to talk about, we need to get over at the same time. And so I don't believe in judging anybody based off of the way that they look. I think that's ridiculous.
No, absolutely.
Unless you're fat.
That just means, because you're costing me more insurance, fatty. Put down the spoon. Yeah.
Come on, man. Be healthy.
That was funny. I was making a joke. Please.
Thanks.
Whatever. I'm sorry. That was not nice.
Podcast host Mussler hates fat people. I can see the headline now. Yeah.
I don't. I'm just.
It's okay. They're my best customers.
Are they?
Yes.
Of course. They're eating sandwiches.
Look,
all that.
Everybody loves some steak and cheese and mayonnaise. All right. Just back up a little bit. So, yeah, we don't want to judge people by the color of their skin. It doesn't matter. It truly is content of the character. One podcast I was on, the guy tried to screw with me, and he says, let's talk about reparations. And I said, look, my dad immigrated in 1968. It wasn't my fault. So do I get a pass?
Well, I mean, they really want to go down that. My wife is directly related to General Sherman.
Okay.
Now, people down here south might not like that, but what was he doing? He was fighting for the ending of slavery. Okay.
Right,
so
right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, that just doesn't line up. You can't.
Our history is colorful and full of holes.
Yes.
And
nobody's
tattered.
perfect.
There were lots of white people that were fighting to end slavery.
That's right.
It was not just.
Although the War of Northern Aggression was not really all about slaves, it was about states' rights. But that right would happen to be owning slaves. But
it was the Republicans that freed the slaves.
It was the Republican Party that wanted
Frederick
that.
Douglass, all of them.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln too.
Abraham Lincoln.
Juneteenth is a Republican holiday. They just don't recognize it.
It's just been co-opted by.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Well, let's take back the language. Yeah. That's the whole thing, right? Let's talk about it, and that way, that let's remove that uncomfortableness, right? That's what you got to do.
They would stop celebrating Juneteenth if they knew that it was really a Republican holiday.
Yeah. Well,
they would stop breathing if Donald Trump said that breathing cures cancer. I mean, they just,
TDS is a real thing.
It really is.
But Burns derangement syndrome, I've realized in at least the Monroe and North Carolina area, is real too.
What is it?
Burns derangement.
Okay.
Yeah, BDS is
Bill Burns.
BDS.
But you have to be careful saying BDS. But at the same time, Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing. Yes, it's real.
It hurts me to see friends of mine that are liberal. Okay. I have some,
good
out in the open.
Yeah,
and we're friends outside, not just like in closed rooms or anything. But it bothers me when they truly feel a certain kind of way. They feel so, we're in such a bad time. And I'm like, no, it's not that bad. Nobody's coming for you.
You know how you fix all that though, is you still show people kindness. Like, I'm bold, but not angry bold. Like we can have tough discussions, but we still need to get things done for the betterment of of everybody. It's just, I believe, like it used to be that the political system was that we all had the same ultimate goal, which was to make America great or better than it was. We just had two different ways of doing it. And so you can talk to people and show kindness. Like, I never go anywhere. I mean, you know what? We went and stopped and got a burger from McDonald's. When I went to go pay, I didn't ask the guy, hey, by the way, are you a Democrat? Because I'm afraid to give you this money. Like, I would never do that. Like, you don't, you just, that's not how you operate.
Yeah.
You have to treat people with respect and kindness, and you have to be able to work with them at the same time. Right. And a lot of those common goals are making sure that you're, at least when you hit that light switch, the lights turn on. When you flush the toilet, it goes to the right place. When you turn on the water, making sure that the internet, everybody's got internet. Like, there's things like that, that your roads are paved, making sure that, I believe in being fiscally responsible and stop asking for all these government programs. We really shouldn't need an auditor, but we need one. Why? Because people don't know how to control their spending habits. And when you give extra power to the government unchecked, that's why you need an auditor on your side like Bolliak. That's why you need individuals to team up with. And that is why we've got to work better together, but for the betterment of all people. People often say, because I push out a lot of ideas, I'm a big vision type person. Okay. And I'll push out ideas, and we'll start talking about, different ways of bringing in revenue to the state and all these other things. While at the same time, what you want to do is we want to reduce the burden on the pockets of the individuals around the state. Yes, affordability, but now affordability is becoming that one of those hot topic issues that Democrats are starting to own. It's not fair because, as a matter of fact, Roy, you have been in power for 40 years in the state of North Carolina.
Right.
So when you start talking about those types of things and the programs that are available and that type of stuff, we've got to be able to change the trajectory of the state. And so anyways, I can talk about it forever. I know you got other questions, but yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, because it's local topic, hot topics here.
Yes.
Any kerfuffle about data centers up near you?
Okay.
That seems to be the hot topic du jour lately down here.
So data centers, I understand where the idea of data centers came from. Sorry, I'm pretty country sometimes. So then there's extra R's every now and then. Okay. The data centers in where that came from. And so back around 2015, 2016 for the state, they gave them a tax exemption. Okay. That if they invested X amount of dollars over, I think it was over maybe $75 million. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that. They would be tax exempt for certain things. Okay. So the idea of the large amount of investment that would come into a city, any other municipality or county or whatever, they would actually not be contributing back to the money
for so many years.
So many years. Okay. So, however, it could be big business. The problem is that there is major issues with our infrastructure. And the fact of the matter is, like in Monroe, we have reduced regulation. I'm going to brag on our city for a second. I'll get to that. We've reduced regulations and process and procedures. We've removed the silos that happen, and we have real processes in our city to where I'm happy to tell you, and it's 100% true, that we have roughly $2.5 billion since I've been in that we brought into the city. Okay. The thing is we have a new investment that's coming into the city that's almost about $400 million manufacturing. Okay. That $400 million in manufacturing is bringing roughly around 1,000 to 2,000 employees. And it also brings in more economics, tax money. So we're relieving the tax burden of the people, then multiple neighborhoods combined. So instead of having to bring in all of these apartment complexes and things like that, right? Instead of having to bring them all in and have all this high density housing that's also surrounding infrastructure and everything, if you go after that, it is a massive tax benefit for the city, for all citizens. Now, we had a data center come and asked to be a part of the city of Monroe. It's a $500 million investment, y'all. Wow. Now keep this in mind, though. Do you know how many people and jobs that would create? 40. 40?
Yeah.
That's better
40.
than I thought. Yeah.
Over, I believe it was 100 megawatts of power needed.
Right.
Okay. 1 million gallons of water. Guys, that's the issue. If you can fix that issue, then maybe let's talk.
Does Monroe already have ordinances in place or any? So where we're at down here is that people have lost their minds because they want a moratorium. They want this, that, and the other, but because they're not realizing our development ordinance has zero mention of a data center because when we did the UDO, it was 20, 30 years ago,
Right.
wasn't a construct. So our city council and county commission are trying to
add that,
create a framework.
Okay.
So if data center come, then we have an idea of what we would ask or whatever. So
Right.
do y'all have some kind of framework already?
We have significantly overhauled our UDO.
Okay.
Okay. Significantly. Because of zoning, we do not have to, and I have not read your UDO.
Mhm.
Okay. Let me be very clear. So I don't know.
It's good reading for a Sunday night.
What I'm sure.
It's real interesting.
I've read a lot
See, I was
of
thinking
pages of
Friday
UDO.
night.
Friday night.
What
Well,
better-
yeah, you're a Friday girl. Okay.
Why
All
not?
right.
Don't go out with your family.
Yeah.
Read the UDO. No, our UDO doesn't need to mention the data centers. We own all of our own utilities in our city, and we control all of that, including, a lot of these regulations that we've already put into place, and we've strengthened the UDO as well.
Okay.
Our UDO might be significantly different than yours. So it's kind of hard to
Well, and our council and commission have said they're looking around the state for best practice to see how to apply. So they're not starting from zero.
Right.
But so you really don't have like a whole section for data center. You
No.
just have
No, we just
other ways to control it.
General industrial, large
Yeah,
commercial, you have all of those things. Those things can help identify that, specifically where the data center, where they were looking at going, I did have a solution for it. Okay. And it was pretty brilliant. Just like, I like to
If
say
you
that.
say so yourself. I mean,
I like to
hey,
say so because I like to
okay.
think outside the box.
Yeah.
That if it actually ended up coming, so I can kind of share with you what happened. So we own all of our own water. We own all of our power, all of our own natural gas. So, okay. Well, right across the street. So we're starting a business park to bring in money into the city. Okay. Right across the street from our business park happens to be our water treatment facility. When you treat the water, what do? You send that out of the water treatment facility back into basically the Yadkin River Basin for us. Okay. You send it back out. That is unsellable water. You cannot resell it. It has to go through the rivers, and somebody else down the road uses that as a water source, maybe. Okay. All right. It's the way it all works. So we talked to them about potentially building a pipe. They would have to pay for it all on their own. A pipe across the street underneath the road, and pump 1 million gallons of treated water to them, run it through their filter system. And guess what we would be doing? We'd be creating income for our city to water that normally wouldn't be income for the city. So the next part, so we fixed the water issue. Down the street is also our energy department. So not everybody has the ability
How
to
does
do
that
this.
affect downstream?
Well, that water gets recycled and still gets pumped back into
Gets dumped in the
still
river.
gets dumped in the river because it's recycled. It goes through and it cycles through. They filter it out and they send it right back.
So the treated water isn't returned to the municipal system. It's
Correct. It
dumped
cannot
in the river, and
anyways.
then we sip it from someplace else fresh for the.
No, it's not fresh.
It's not.
Well,
it actually goes into more than likely like some type
it's
of
fresh
lake
frozen,
or something.
like
Something like that.
Yeah.
And so then we fixed the energy issue. Down the street about 1.5 miles is our energy department. We own an 18-inch and in some instances 24-inch natural gas pipe that literally comes all the way through Mooresville, all the way down through Lancaster. We own it as a city. Okay, so we have a lot of income that comes in. All right, we own all of our own natural gas. So because of that, we also created some room in that by adjusting formulas about a year ago, something that we'd come up with. And so now we have extra, even though it's all still the same. Okay. And so we worked with them that said, there's no way in God's green earth we will ever pull from we own also 12% of the nuclear reactor in Lake Wiley. Okay. So we're in a really good spot, Monroe. I understand it's not for everybody. So we ended up agreeing with them that or talking to them saying, hey, listen, you build a 16-inch natural gas pipe up the road from there, and it was going to be like $8 million or something like that. They would do it if this was really that profitable. Bring that up, and then they would have to put in their own natural gas power generators that would generate 90 megawatts a day. Okay. And so we fixed that issue too. All right. It was not going to be a strain on our infrastructure, anything like that. But The only problem that kept us away from doing that and really pushing forward is still that tax incentive.
Mhm.
That property then at the same time, this is what's going on in the state level. It needs to be fixed and corrected, is because if it ever were to go anywhere, where if you had a solution for all those things that everybody's talking about, we're not strain on infrastructure, we'd at least put 40 people to work, all this other stuff. But you're going to try and influence me with a $500 million investment into our city. Okay. But I wouldn't be able to, as a city, receive any tax benefit. Are you out of your mind? Because that spot would be better used for a manufacturer, which is what we're getting a lot for.
Wouldn't you get personal property taxes from the equipment they buy and they utilize?
Maybe. And it really depends.
That's come up here.
Yes,
is that we're going to we would be getting the property taxes, and so we wouldn't be trying to defer those.
Yeah,
we'd give them other.
It just becomes
other
problem.
incentives. Yeah,
this incentive that the state gave as a way to kind of be like on the forefront of the issue is also literally affecting these municipalities. If you could tell them, hey, listen, I'm going to come in and we're going to do $500 million for your city. So you don't have to raise taxes, or when you have to do these new reassessments that go into your county over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry about it. You don't even have to do it. Like, don't even change the value of the penny. You're going to do a tax reassessment, but we're not going to change the value of your penny, which is what happened. Wouldn't that be awesome? But see, they're not doing that.
Well,
and so things are more expensive.
It's also an ideal world
taxes.
that you probably are doing the math that other people are looking for how to grift back into their nonprofits before it actually makes it back. So here we go back at the beginning.
Outside of the box.
So if we wanted to learn more about you, we need a website or something.
Yes.
I got to put something up on screen, man. I'm kind of slacking here. So
Yeah.
The website, what's your
electrobertburns.com.
Yeah, somebody said it was difficult. So,
yeah, that's right. electrobertburns.com. And we have a absolutely awesome, sick campaign being built, and our website is going to be
okay. And
awesome.
You have this young man, Joel, over here.
Yes. Joel is traveling with me around the state.
Okay.
And he's incredibly helpful.
All right.
We've known him for a while, and he's a force too, man. Like locally in Monroe area and Union County, heavily active. Joel also was a part of Mark Harris's staff for a little bit as an intern. And so, man, he's on point. He calls everybody, and and
I have to say he got you squared away here very quickly.
He's great. Yes, I'm very thankful for him.
So, so what's next for you? I know you have an appearance tonight, Republican Women's Club,
the Fayetteville the oldest women's club, Republican Women's Club, and the president is freaking awesome.
He's all right.
Yeah,
shameless plug.
Well, we tonight, we're speaking in a lot of places since financial paperwork went in to run for governor and form that committee. And then my wife got bit by a copperhead. That kind of like helped. I did not do that.
What?
The left yes, my wife got bit by a copperhead, or literally 2 days later after that all made the news, and it made international news. So now we have.
So Satan is after him.
50.
Jesus.
We had 50, there's a ton. So we have a lot of places already that we're traveling around to, over 50 in the next couple, months. And then, we're starting a tour, and I can't completely announce that yet because we're working on it. It's going to be super awesome.
All right.
We're working with TPUSA and some other organizations to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, it was a pleasure having you on today.
Thank you,
it's a lot of fun as a guest. You make a good guest. I like
thank you.
having you.
Thank you.
Laura, anything else for the good of the cabinet today?
Anything.
Anything.
No, but just remember that campaigns do not run on your energy alone. They also need money, and they need volunteers. So if you would like to give money or volunteer to help a new mayor candidate, please go see electrobertburns.com.
Yes, please. Thank you so much for that.
All right. Well, with that, everybody, thanks for joining the cabinet, and we will see you either tomorrow or Monday. I'm not sure. I think tomorrow too.
I think Monday would be better.
You want to do Monday? All right. We'll see you Monday at 6. All right. Everybody, thank you. Have a good day.